I was in college was the time of Ram Dass and the philosophy Be Here Now. Has anybody heard of that particular philosophy? The idea behind it was to really be present in the moment, to not worry about the past, to not worry about the future, but really appreciate the moment we're in right now, to quiet your mind of all the thoughts of other time, to understand that we really have no other time except the now. It's a very popular idea during those times, and I think in many ways it makes sense. For example, if you're eating a strawberry this week, it doesn't do any good to think about the strawberry that you had last week. It doesn't do any good to think about a strawberry that you might have next month. The only thing that makes sense when you're eating a strawberry is to enjoy the strawberry you're eating now. And if it's not very good, to understand that, well, the strawberry just isn't very good right now. What's in the past or the future with regard to strawberries doesn't matter. But on the other hand, there really is a past and a future, whether they say there is or not. There really is a past and a future. And we human beings are wired to think about both the past and the future in addition to living in the now. They say that people can be divided up into what their main focus is on, whether they orient toward thoughts of the past, thoughts of the future, or whether they're more focused on the present. And maybe each of you have a thought right now about what kind of a person you might be, if you're more future-oriented, or are you more past-oriented, or are you a person who's just a natural be here now kind of person? They did a study some years ago. This is one of those crazy university studies where they hire people and they get people to come in and then they do these weird things to them. In this case, they got some children. They were about 6 years old, these kids. And they put them in a room. They gave them a little paper plate with a marshmallow on it. And they told the kids that if they left the marshmallow uneaten on the plate for 15 minutes, the guy would come back and bring them a second marshmallow, and they would have 2 marshmallows, which they could eat anytime they wanted. About 2/3 of the kids ate the marshmallow pretty darn quickly. There were a lot of different variations on how fast they ate the marshmallow. Some of them just, as soon as the guy was gone, went right in their mouth. Others kind of picked it up, smelled it, put it back down, tried to wait, tried to wait. One little girl ate out all the center of the marshmallow. Tried to cheat. But 1 in 3 of the kids left the marshmallow in hopes of getting that second marshmallow. Then, about 15 years later, they checked up on these particular kids to see how they turned out. And it turned out that the kids who could delay gratification, who could wait 15 minutes for that second marshmallow, were much more successful according to the ordinary traditional way of thinking about life. They tended to have gone further in education, they got better grades, they were better citizens, they had gotten in trouble less. The kids who could not delay gratification, especially that little girl who ate the center out of her marshmallow and tried to get a second marshmallow and eat her current marshmallow, you would expect that those kids maybe didn't do so well. And you might think, well, is living in the present such a good thing? Because if you're living in the present, you would eat that marshmallow now, if you like marshmallows. And if you didn't like marshmallows now, there would be no point in getting a second marshmallow. So it's kind of it kind of goes against, this study goes against the idea of the value of living in the present. But I live a lot in the future. I think a lot about, I'm always thinking, gotta save money for retirement. Delaying gratification. I have a very hard time enjoying things now because I'm thinking about, well, what's it going to be in the future? And I think that there are some people who might look at some of the choices that I make in my life and say, you loosen up a little bit. Enjoy the present, because this is really an important time to have. And then, of course, there's the issue of the past. How do you deal with the past? I have a friend who recently got a DUI. I assume you all know what a DUI is. If you don't, it means drunk, under influence, and it means that you got caught operating a motor vehicle after drinking enough to get your blood alcohol above 0.08% alcohol. Now, he hadn't been drinking a lot. He, in fact, passed the field sobriety test. Many people I know drive all the time drinking more than he had drunk before he went driving. And yet he happened to get caught. And I don't know if you know anything about what happens if you do get caught, but it's very expensive. For one thing, it's automatically 6 months you lose your driver's license. So you have to figure out a different form of transportation. You have to go to classes. And then they want money from you. It's $5,000 or $6,000. Sometimes they'll lower the fine. Sometimes they'll give you a payment schedule. But on first offense, even for just a little bit over the limit, you have to pay quite a large fine. If it's your second offense, oh, don't even go there. Don't even think about it. So I asked my friend, I said, how will this affect your life going forward? And he said, well, it's been very stressful now because he has to figure out how to get around without driving. He had to take the classes, which he said were kind of boring and not so great. And he is going to be making payments on his fine through the end of the year. So I said, it's been very stressful. He says, for one thing, for sure, I will not drink and drive again. At all. In fact, I will not, if I've drunk the day before, I will not drive again. And so, in this case, I would say this is a really excellent example of how the past, and thinking about the past, and dealing with the past, and focusing on the past, can improve your life for the future. Another example, and I'll use myself again with the past, is people who, something bad has happened to them. They've done something bad, they've messed up, they forgot their mom's birthday, they did something not so good. And then, instead of learning from that, instead of letting it affect their future life, all they can do is say, oh no, I was so terrible, this is awful, my life is ruined, no one will ever love me again. And it's not so great. I don't think anybody would agree that is the best way to live. So the question is, what is the best way to relate to time? Should you live in the present? Should you focus on the future? Or should you think about the past? Does anybody have any feedback? What do you think is the best way, Christine?
It's a balance.
Balance, that's a good answer. Karen?
I agree with Christine. Just focus or use your past as learning experiences and have some plans for the future, but mainly stay focused on the present.
Okay. That's good. Kim, what do you think?
I think that you can live in the present and still be able to make plans. I And I think you can live in the present and still reflect on the past. It's just a matter of not living there, not going back and revisiting there, just looking at, you can be introspective and still be in the present. And you can still, plan for retirement and for the other things by being in the present. But I think the definition really of being in the present is not being lost in your own thoughts all the time, but just being able to experience things in real time.
Okay. So is there anyone who would say anything different besides using all present, past, and future? Lily, would you argue anything else besides that?
I think it is really important to use all those 3 time frames, and I do agree with, I guess, most of the speakers, that it's very important to be present and to be in the present for the most part, but not to forget about past and future at the same time. But I think the present is something that's a gift if you can stay in the present. And I think it's a gift to yourself and also to other people, because if somebody's talking, you really want to be present and listen and not think about something totally different on the past.
Sure.
So I think it's a very important space to be in.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Well, my opinion is that it's best if you can find a balance, if you can use the best aspects of learning from the past, if you can plan for the future, but as much as possible live in the present, that you will be the happiest. So live well and prosper, and may we all be imitable.